95.3 Beef Mode Food Truck. Voted Best Food Truck and Best Hot Dog and Evening Magazine's 23rd Annual Best of Western Washington. Where can you get one of those delicious hot dogs just like the ones down by Safeco and CenturyLink Field? You can get them right here in Snohomish County. Stop by and try the Wilson, the Carroll, or the Blitz. Now you can bring Beef Mode to your next company party, neighborhood get-together, wedding, birthday, bar mitzvah, you name it, we can be there. For more, go to Facebook and look for Big Dogs Food Truck.
Jet City Traffic, powered by EverettPost.com.
At 5:29, we are 1 hour away from Silvertips Hockey Western Conference Finals Game 4, 6:30 pregame, 7:05 face-off. Everett at Tri-City coming up from the Toyota Center in Kennewick 1 hour from now. About 45 seconds from now, Prep Sports Weekly, a special 5:30 start time. Lots of special guests coming your way. Let's talk about traffic. It's cleaned up fairly decently northbound I-5 coming up past the Everett Mall. A little sluggish right through the heart of downtown Everett. Lots of cars right now on the Hewitt Avenue Trestle, so that's going to be a little sluggish heading out of town. They did clear an earlier problem. Northbound 405, just north of the 527 interchange, was a collision blocking the 2 right-hand lanes. That's been cleared. The backup, not so much, all the way back to the Bothell-Woodinville interchange before you break free there. Northbound I-5 coming out of Seattle, it is a absolute parking lot before Northgate, both the main line and the express lanes, up through to Shoreline before you finally break free there. Do you need help with your labor and industry claims? Call the law office of Dale Wagner at 360-629-5276. They will give you the help you need and deserve. See them at DaleWagnerLaw.com. Jet City weather forecast, mostly clear skies overnight tonight. Lows down around 50 degrees. And then tomorrow, calling for mostly sunny, a little cooler, and highs near 65. 73 degrees right now in downtown Everett. Fox Sports 1380 FM 95.3. Prep Sports Weekly on a Thursday night here on Fox Sports 1380 FM 95.3. Steve Willits has made his way into the studio.
I sure have. How are you?
Oh, we're pretty good. Pretty good. Not like there's anything going on tonight.
Yeah, just a really quiet, boring night at the office here, right?
Got the Silvertips in an hour.
Right.
Won't miss
game
one.
4.
Big, huge game 4. NFL draft going on. NBA, NHL playoffs. Lots of stuff.
Yeah, please don't turn away and listen or watch any of that. You can wait until later, right? We want you here for the next hour.
That's what the internet's for.
Exactly.
And that's what your DVR is for.
And my DVR is actually set, I'm not going to lie. So I will be watching plenty of the said NFL draft later on tonight.
Today's show brought to you in part by Vander Yacht Propane, the Snohomish County PUD, Glass by Lund, your Allstate insurance agent, Brian Reed, and by the law office of Russell and Hill. Who do we got them stacked up in the hallway coming in. Too,
we do. We're going to have 4 in-studio guests later, and this is kind of a special show. We've been wanting to do this for a while, and we finally have been able to make it happen. As folks who are University of Washington basketball fans around here know,
Cougars, stay with us.
Yeah, no offense, Cougars. I was going to say we love you too, but I'm a Husky fan, so I don't know if I can honestly say that and not do it without a smile on my face. But there were 2 seniors on the University of Washington men's basketball team this year, and they both happen to hail from Snohomish County. Mm-hmm. Both players we know fairly well. Greg Bowman from Mount Lake Terrace High School and Dan Kingma from Jackson. They're here tonight, as are their high school coaches, Nalin, Sood, and Steve Johnson. They'll both be joining us. I think we're going to get a phone call from Dave Rice during that segment also. He is an assistant basketball coach at the University of Washington, and we'll talk a little bit more about Greg and Dan and what they've meant to the program over the last few years, and just have a lot of fun talking Husky basketball with them and also reminiscing about their time in Snohomish County and, their upbringing and early days of playing basketball for them. I think it's going to be a really fun show, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, let's kick it off, though. It's so nice how we got to talk baseball, don't we?
We have to talk baseball. And, another guy who knows a couple of the other gentlemen we just mentioned, it's the head baseball coach for the Everett Seagulls, Alex Barashkov's joining us right now. Alex, how are you tonight?
Doing great, Steve. How are you? Hello, Tom.
Hey there.
Doing great. Hey, we wanted to bring you on because you're playing on this gorgeous new field now, the Everett Memorial Stadium. A lot of renovations over the last year, getting the new turf down. Did kind of force you out of your home field for a while there, but now you're back and you're playing on the new turf. We wanted to kind of get your thoughts. So before we get into that, though, your baseball team starting to play a little better right now. I know it was a rough start to the season, but you've picked up a couple nice wins against Marysville-Getchell this week. How are we feeling about the Seagulls right now?
Well, we've got a game tomorrow against Shorecrest, and then we finish off next Monday and Tuesday Marysville, and then we look like we're going to get a play-in spot, and we'll get the number 3 team out of the South, and our kids are excited to get a chance to move on to the next game after that. So, yeah, we're excited.
Tell us about some of the kids we should be watching for when we're watching the Seagulls.
Our number 4 hitter is starting to heat up. He started off a little slow, but he's hit 5 out of the last 10 at-bats. He's had 8 RBIs, so Caden Lockhart's really starting to heat up a little bit. And then a young player for us, Aaron Robertson, is starting to hit the ball really well for us. Dodge Matthews has been pitching and hitting consistently all year. So those 3 have really started to carry our team. So, yeah, we're excited for the last 3 season games and then getting to those playoffs.
2 of those 3 guys you just mentioned I have listed on my roster here as being sophomores. It's got to be a nice building block for you then.
That is true. That's true. They're young and they're pretty good ball players. So, yeah, there's a future with those 2 players for sure.
So talk about the journey over the last couple of years. The fields needing a little work, obviously a grass field. Tom and I both happen to enjoy it very much. We both work for the Aqua Sox during the summer months and do announcing over there. But obviously we understand there's some challenges when you play on a grass field in the Pacific Northwest in the winter months and the spring months. And I know there's certainly issues with drainage over there at Everett. Was this a project that you saw coming for a while? I mean, was it something that was talked about? Talk us through the process from your standpoint as a coach.
Yeah, Coach Harrison was there before me, and then Coach Duffy, and they had kind of give me a little heads up that there's been some problems with the early months of the season. You're going to miss a couple games here and there, and last year it was very bad, and we didn't get to play any games, and so.
So a year ago you played no home games.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Just wow.
And then we it was tough. And then the first month of this season we didn't get to play any, but now we're on there and the kids are excited, and so that's good. And even Coach Nicholson over Jackson's got a couple games on there, and Coach Benson's got a play on there, and they're excited that if it rains out at the 4:00 game, they're able to maybe come after at 7. So there's a chance the other 2 schools will be able to play after us, and there's nothing like playing under the lights on that field. And it's a beautiful field. They did a great job. So Snohomish County chipped in, the Mariners chipped in, and of course Everett School District chipped in. So all 3 of them did a super job, and now it's fantastic. And we had our first home run hit out today in practice, and Carter Booth from Jackson hit one out yesterday in their game against Monroe. So the kids are excited to be able to have a success there and hit a home run. So
yeah, Booth heading off to Oregon State, I believe, next year. So that's a big deal for him. Did he hit it over the monster out there, or where did he?
No, he took it off. He hit it to the right field onto the bank. So that was good for him.
Oh, homer porch.
Counts as the same, right? So what are the players saying?
Right.
What has the response been so far from some of your players, just from being out there and playing on the field? How are they liking it?
Well, they just want to hit every day out there, and I mean they don't mind fielding on it either because it's true bounce, and they've made it quite nice. I mean, the outfield's like grass, and it's good. It's very, very good for our kids. They love it. They love coming out of the locker room and having the cages there. They like having every community college in front of them. They get to watch the Trojans play, and they get to see how to do things fast. And so it's a good opportunity for our kids to watch Everett CC play in front of us, and so it's a good opportunity.
You know, what's interesting, when you drive by, if you just look down like from up above, up on 41st, it looks like that's not dirt, right? That's just brown AstroTurf.
That's correct. It looks great, and home plate is actually real, so it's not artificial. So we line that just like dirt field, and then we get to dig in there. But the rest of it's great because when it rains, we can hope that it stops for game time and still get the game in.
So just for clarification, over the last year and a half or so, did I read this right? Have you been playing most of your home games in Shoreline?
We've played quite a few games. We've rented their fields, and Robert does a good job, Mr. Folk, to finding us a place to play. And 2 years ago, we played a little more at Terrace. This season, we played a lot at Shorecrest and Shorewood. So, yeah, our kids got used to it, and they don't make an excuse. They just go out, but they are happy now to have their beautiful place to play. I mean, it's great. Their parents love it, sitting in the stands, and with this great weather now, it's a great place to play.
Talk about the nuts and bolts of the playing a game on that type of surface. What infielders have to play deeper? How does that work?
It's like playing. They if anything, they can play a little deeper. And but some kids play shallow. It's so true to what they're used to that they like it. They'd prefer to play on our field than on grass, obviously, because it's actually giving them a truer bounce. And they just love it. The outfielders think it's a little slower than they thought it would be for turf, but it's actually truer to the grass than they thought it would be. But they're used to it, and they like the big wall to the left, and they like the fact that right field's a little shorter, and some of them try to go that way. The field has its great characteristics that the kids love, and so they're excited to play on it.
So we should mention to folks that are interested in checking out an Everett Seagulls baseball game and want to see what the new field looks like. You've got a home game again tomorrow against Shorecrest, and that's a 4 p.m. start time, correct, Coach?
That is correct, and I believe the Everett Little League's going to have some kids out there running the bases and giving them hot dogs to come out and check the field themselves. So there might be some younger kids running around there too, so that's good. Might
get a good crowd tomorrow night then too. And then on Monday night you play Marysville-Pilchuck, a team that's having a very solid year, and that's also scheduled for 4 o'clock. So we certainly hope folks get out there, and then you end your regular season at MP on Tuesday. And then as of right now, it looks, and you tell me, I don't know if it's been clinched yet or not, but you're certainly sitting in pretty good position to take on the South number 3 team next Thursday in a play-in game. And if the playoffs were to start right now, you guys would be playing Shorewood in that first round over at Shoreline. So so far so good for the Seagulls.
Yes, we're excited, and I think everything you're saying, I hope, is going to happen, and we get out there and win.
Well, Coach, best of luck to you guys. Again, Alex Brashkoff, the head coach for the Everett Seagulls, playing on that new turf over at Everett Memorial Stadium. Coach Brashkoff, thanks again for joining us, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Tom.
You bet. There we go. That is the coach over at Everett High School. I can't wait to see a game there.
I'm excited. I mean, obviously, you and I spent plenty of time there, June, July, and August, but I'm going to have to try to catch it. I know the Wesco, I think it's the 3A, maybe, and the 4A districts are being held there this year. I'll have to look that up. I'm speaking off the top of my head now, but I know.
I'm guessing that field's going to get a lot.
It's going to get a lot of use now, and it should, right? I know They've had to move that around the last couple of years, but with that turf ready to go, it's a gorgeous facility, and we can't wait to get over there.
There you go. What's coming up next? We're going to talk Huskies.
We're going to talk Husky basketball. We're going to talk Wesco basketball as well with two of our favorite sons of Wesco basketball, Greg Bowman and Dan Kingma, along with their coaches from high school, Nalin, Sood, and Steve Johnson.
And it is Prep Sports Weekly on a Thursday night here on Fox Sports 1380 and FM 95.3.
When you shop at Ace Hardware in Lake Stevens, you not only find what you need, we make sure you get the help you need too. Hi, this is Greg Eaglestead, and I own Lake Stevens Ace Hardware with my wife, Christine.
We'll greet you at the door and answer any questions you have about what you need. We're all about serving our customers and our community.
We support local high school sports and many other Lake Stevens organizations and events throughout the year.
So the next time you need something for that job around the house and a little friendly advice, come see us.
Ace Hardware in Lake Stevens. We are the helpful hardware folks.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks.
Hey sports fans, do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the Westco Conference are playing? Who won the game last night and what the current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is entered by athletic directors and coaches, so you know it's accurate and up to date, making westcoathletics.com the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and photos for all the schools and all the sports in the Westco Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the Westco Conference.
Are you tired of going to the same old places for lunch, dinner, or after the game? Well, if you're looking for a great deal on a great meal, head to the Buzz Inn Steakhouse. You can enjoy their signature breakfast Monday through Friday till 10:30 a.m. for just $4.99. Weekdays 11 till 1, get a deluxe burger and fries for only $6.99. And Monday night is steak night with a 6-ounce top sirloin and potato with salad for just $9.99. The Buzz Inn has 11 locations to serve you, including the corner of Broadway and Pacific Avenues in downtown Everett.
The Western Hockey League Western Conference Finals return to downtown Everett for a pivotal Game 5 on Saturday night as the Everett Silvertips go head-to-head with the Tri-City Americans. The hits are harder, the goals are sweeter, and the saves are monumental.
Saved by Carter Hart.
Get your tickets by going to everettsilvertips.com/playoffs. Doors open at 6 p.m. And if you can't be there in person, hear all the action on Fox Sports 1380 and FM 95.3. I am so ready for spring to be here, and there's nothing better than waking up on a bright, sunny morning in a luxurious bedroom. I'm with Jay Behar of Behar's Furniture. So, Jay, what have you got for me today?
Stitch, we have 40,000 square feet of furniture and bedroom sets in every style, from upholstered headboards to rustic driftwood finishes to classic sleigh beds. We've got beds with storage underneath and some cool new bunk beds for the kids.
Awesome. No pressure browsing, financing options, delivery, and setup at Behar's Furniture. High style, low prices. 20% Broadway in Everett and online at behars.com.
Since 1967, Snohomish County has looked to Glass by Lund when they needed glass. Did you know that Glass by Lund also helps with vinyl, aluminum, and wood windows, custom shower doors, deck railings, skylights, glass tabletops, mirrors, and all your custom glass needs? Their competitive pricing, quality installation, and the ability to meet stringent deadlines has earned Glass by Lund a top-notch reputation. Family owned since 1967. On the web at glassbylund.com. Glass by Lund. More than just glass.
Snohomish PUD has been your community energy partner for over 65 years. That's why your PUD is a proud supporter of broadcasting Western Conference high school athletics in our community. Congrats to our local student athletes for excelling in sports and academics. It takes smarts to save, and your PUD offers smart ways to help you save energy and lower your bill. PUD can help you save with instant rebates on energy-saving home improvements and special prices on efficient home products. Check out their website at snopud.com, snopud.com for more smart rewards, smart rebates, and smart ideas.
Prep Sports Weekly on a Thursday night continues here on Fox Sports 1380, FM 95.3. Tom Lafferty along with Steve Willits. Today's show brought to you in part by the Buzz Inn Steakhouse, by the Lake Stevens Ace Hardware Store, Major League Pizza, by Chinook Lumber, and by the Snohomish County DUI Task Force. We ready to move into our next whole bunch of Huskies over there.
Yeah, well, I don't know if the other two guys on the end here are going to call them. Well, one of them is wearing a Husky shirt. So
there's at least three.
Three of them, and Coach Sood. I don't know if is he going to give us a thumbs up here or not.
He's looking away.
He's got the the thumbs to the side.
Thumb to the side.
We'll ask him about that as we go along here. I'm sure he was a fan the last 4 years, though. I hope anyway. Yeah, we've got two of our former Wesco basketball players, both who were seniors at the University of Washington this year. I guess we'll maybe start on this side and have them introduce themselves and talk about where they went to high school as well.
My name's Greg Bowman.
Did you turn on?
They should all be on. Should we try that again?
Yeah.
Can we hear
Greg now?
My name is Greg Bowman. I went to Mount Lake Terrace High School. I graduated in 2014, and I've been at University of Washington the last 4 years.
I'm Dan Kingma. I played at Jackson for this guy, Steve Johnson. Graduated in 14, and I as well have been playing at UW for the last 4 years.
And then we've got their two coaches, Steve Johnson and Nalin Sood. Guys, before we talk to the coaches, has it sunk in yet, Greg, that the 4 years are up already and the college basketball career is over? I know it ended for you guys, a little over a month and a half ago or so. What's it been like for you the last month and a half? Are you finding yourself with a lot more free time?
Yeah, definitely a lot more free time. I don't think it's quite sunk in yet that I'm done with my college basketball career. I'm still expecting to have to go to some workouts in the afternoon or earlier in the mornings. Yeah, it's been weird. I'm just kind of a regular student now, going to class, working out a little bit still, but it's definitely weird. I think by the time school's over and I'm not playing basketball in the summer, then it'll finally set in that I'm not playing anymore.
Dan, what about you? Was there that moment in March where all of a sudden you woke up one morning and you thought, oh, wait, I don't have to go to practice anymore?
Yeah, I would say that moment is kind of just starting to get here because we're used to having a couple weeks off after the season. And it's been about a little over a month, and it's just kind of weird just seeing some of my former teammates, some of my friends. They're starting to have to go back to these early morning workouts and these practices, and I'm just kind of seeing them, and they're coming, and they're dead tired coming from these workouts, and I'm just yeah, I haven't really done anything today. Just go to class, lift weights whenever I want, do whatever I want. So it's starting to hit me, but haven't played too much basketball, so I'm just starting to get that itch to get back into basketball lately. Yeah.
So we're going to cover their careers in a moment, but I wanted to ask the coaches up front, and Nalin, maybe I'll start with you over here. Do you remember that time you first saw Greg Bowman, or you first knew of who Greg Bowman was? And was it instantaneous? Was there that moment where you watched him play, or maybe just talked to him and you thought, this kid's got the capability of being really special?
Yeah, I remember seeing him as an elementary student playing in our feeder program. I can't remember if it's 5th or 6th grade, but the first time I talked to him. I remember specifically he was with his family of Fred Meyer, and I walked by, and Mr. Bowman, his father, said to Greg, "Hey, there's Coach." And I looked over and I walked over and go, "Hey, Greg," and I stood there for about a minute before I got a word out of him. And but I remember seeing him at that time and having a chat with the family and everything, and thought, what a wonderful family, what a wonderful young man, and we might parlay this into a couple few years, because I think he was about 6 feet tall at the time also. So
that always helps.
That was a good meeting.
And Steve, what about you? Did you have a Dan? Now you obviously knew of the Kingmas a little bit earlier on. There's been a few of them that have gone through Jackson.
Yeah, there's been a few. So I knew the family, obviously, from when Dan was really young, and he used to go to my camps, during the summertime. So I got to know Dan, and we had kind of the opposite impression. I didn't notice how tall he was. I was sort of hoping he might grow. And he had, I knew he had a great passion for the game and loved basketball and had been around it and had high expectations for himself. So I had a feeling that he would evolve into a really outstanding high school player and have a chance to make an impact at the college level too.
Steve, how much do you give advice, whether it's a Kingma or a Todd or any of the others, about advancing past high school? How much advice do you give?
I think that if they ask for it, or if they care to learn, maybe experience I've had working with other kids that have come through that have played at the college level. So everyone's different. Obviously with Dan, he had a lot of experience with his own family and siblings that had gone through the recruiting process and all that. So some kids kind of come into it. They need a lot more guidance, to be honest with you. They've never really experienced it, and they kind of don't know the game, so to speak. And whatever knowledge I have of that, I try to impart. But there's also some kids that do have a lot of experience, from siblings or what have you. So kind of depends. But I certainly try to be an ear to sounding board and provide any advice I can.
I'm asking this question without knowing the answer already, so fill us in here. But obviously, we are a high school sports show that focuses primarily on Snohomish County, and you guys are two really, truly success stories from the area, and somebody that a lot of the younger athletes around here right now can kind of aspire to be like and to look up to. Dan, what was your early basketball experience? Did you grow up playing in Snohomish County, and if so, kind of maybe walk us through that timeline?
Yeah, always grew up. I grew up in Mill Creek. So been playing basketball in Snohomish County pretty much ever since I started playing, probably when I was 5 or 6 years old, in rec leagues. Always played in the area, but what was good for me as well is my dad kind of pushed me into getting out. I played for an AAU team in Seattle, which we traveled a lot more and got a lot more exposure playing against players in different areas who are usually a bit more competitive. So I was able to definitely get better and learn a lot playing in Snohomish County. But I think one of the better things for me was to make sure that I went out of the area and played against the best talent from all over the state and all over the country as well.
Greg, I know you obviously you played high school basketball at Mount Lake Terrace. Were you a South Snohomish County guy from the get-go?
Yeah, I was. I'm kind of the opposite of Dan. I didn't really play a whole lot of AAU growing up. I just played a lot of the feeder league, like Coach Sood mentioned earlier. That was pretty much the only advanced basketball I played until I got to high school. I just played a lot of Alderwood Rec League. I played a little spring league too, so I could play a little more basketball in the spring because I loved it. It was my favorite sport. But yeah, until I got to high school, I played AAU for the first time there, and that's when I kind of finally got out of the Snohomish area and started to play in some pretty cool places. We traveled a lot more, but that was kind of crazy for me, traveling to go play these incredible players. But I was pretty much local throughout my early basketball career.
Did you have those moments early on in your career, and ask this to either one of you two, where, we certainly think of a lot of the big D1 basketball players in this area as coming from the Seattle area or from Tacoma or other places within the region. Did either one of you have aspirations of wanting to play big time basketball at that point? And did you have anybody you looked up to or any other players that you were kind of watching thinking, okay, this is maybe who I want to emulate or I want to be like, Dan?
For me, I would say I always had aspirations to play in college. Growing up, pretty much the one dream of mine was I would say even just playing in the NBA, which obviously isn't my dream anymore. But I'm glad I had it because I always never really set limits on what I could do and just pretty much expected myself to play college basketball and hopefully go on and play professional basketball. And pretty much I had players in the area that I looked up to, and obviously having an older brother that was successful in the area as well, seeing that he could come from Jackson and that he was playing AAU tournaments across the country and getting offers from big schools. So I knew that I had the chance to definitely do it, and I always kind of expected it. But I didn't really limit myself to players in the area to look up to, although there were some great players to do that. But you really, anyone that lives in this area you can really go play basketball anywhere, and you can be successful doing it.
And playing Wesco basketball at that, I mean, certainly we've seen guys. We've seen the Brockmans, the Applebys, and other players. Greg, talk a little bit about your Wesco experience and how maybe that got you prepared to play ball at the next level. Did you always think that, you were getting solid competition? Obviously, you guys play a lot of summer leagues and spring leagues and whatnot, and you do get to go and have those state experiences. You've both played in the Tacoma Dome, but Greg, just tell me a little bit about how playing Wesco basketball and playing for Mount Lake Terrace maybe helped you to get where you were going for the University of Washington.
Yeah, well, I think there's a conception that Wesco around the state is not as strong as some of the other conferences, but I mean, if you played in that conference with me back in the day, and even now, you'd see that it's anything but, because we had some very tough teams: Glacier Peak, Shorewood, Stanwood. I thought the competition was great. I wish would have got to play Jackson at least once.
No, you don't.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
We all know how that would have gone down.
That's on my notes of questions too. Should we just jump in there and throw that out right now? 2013 at the Tacoma Dome, Mount Lake Terrace finishes 4th in the 3A tournament. Jackson finishes 2nd in the 4A tournament. Dan, who wins that game? I badly wanted to see Terrace Jackson that year. I know that. But
we both would obviously say that we would win that game, and I think both of us would probably be all right to say that. We're both really competitive teams. We were really good in our respective leagues. Obviously, I think you guys were 3A, we were 4A, so we didn't play against each other. But it would have been a really good game, and I'd like to think that we would have came out on top for sure.
Steve, Nalin, why didn't we get that game?
I don't know, but playing against Jackson many times before that, I can guarantee one thing: neither one of us would have slept otherwise after the game. I just tell you that. That's the battles we've always had.
Yeah, definitely.
So do we put is Jason Todd going up against Greg Bowman in that game, or what do we have? Blake Fernandez versus Dan Kingma?
There's a kid named Lauren Lacoste also.
Yeah.
A kid named Brian Zaire.
Yeah. It doesn't matter which way you put it. I mean, we're going to come out on top.
There we go. I like it.
Coach Sood, we were talking a little bit about the recruiting process. When you get a call from a college coach and he's looking at Greg Bowman and you talk about him, do you ever slip in like, I got this other Joe Dokes over here is pretty good. Do you ever slip those in?
Oh, I think Steve can attest to this. We've probably hadn't been able to campaign to get a lot of bad kids recruited. And when they call, they usually know who they're looking at and who they're interested in. I think sometimes they pacify us a little bit by calling us. And it's nice that they do get to talk to us about things beyond basketball, and that's probably why we get the call. They want to find out more about them as student athletes. But, when they come watch the kids, and Dan and Greg will attest, when they're playing some AAU, they might be there watching one kid, and then they'll pick up on another kid. And that might be how Greg and Dan, got noticed for their college opportunities. So I might throw a name in here or there, but they better back it up with their game or they're going to make me look like a fool.
Well, Steve, it's kind of the same question then. Do you get I want to talk about Dan Kingma, but who's that number 27? Who's that number 24 over there?
Yeah, I mean, that has happened occasionally, but I would kind of agree with Coach Sood that, I think that they usually have a purpose when they call you and they kind of know what they're asking for. And I think a lot of times, it really varies. I mean, some college coaches, like Coach Romar, about Dan, asked me all kinds of questions, came to watch practice several times, really wanted to know how he was with his teammates and around campus. And then, some other college coaches will really won't work with the high school coaches much. So I think it kind of depends on their own philosophy. At each college program is kind of different along those lines in terms of how much they loop in the high school coach. But definitely with Romar at University of Washington, he spent a lot of time, checking up on how Dan was as a leader and as a player and as a student as well as athlete.
As far as the recruiting process, Dan, how easy of a decision was it for University of Washington? Because I've got to think both of you two, having watched you play in high school, you had opportunities. You could have gone to Division II, Division III schools and started or been stars there. You both choose to go Pac-12 or Pac-10 probably at the time. And to
wow,
give or take, isn't it right around there?
The Pacific Coast Conference, yes, yeah, right? That's us.
The PCC, right? Pac-8. No, but I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, you guys could have gone somewhere where you would have played more. Dan, what was the decision process for you? Were you sold on wanting to go to the University of Washington from the get-go, or was it a tough decision for you?
I would say that both me and Greg would probably say ours are definitely unique. Mine wasn't necessarily like a traditional college recruiting, like, because I didn't go to UW on scholarship. It's not like I committed to UW or signed a letter of intent. I was just, during my junior year of high school, I was starting to get a little interest from schools. Like you said, schools that I probably could have gone there and played a lot and averaged good number of points and been one of the best players on the team. But when UW, kind of just through people I know, my sister played there, having known Coach Romar, that opportunity was just kind of unique. It wasn't like you said, it wasn't like I chose them over like offers, or it's just kind of different because walking on, I just chose UW because of mainly the school, the area is being close to home, and mainly just like Coach Romar. So wasn't like I was just choosing it, it's just kind of different. I don't know. Jibo will tell you kind of similar story.
Yeah, my story is pretty similar to Dan's. I mean, I always grew up a Husky fan. I wanted to go to UW for school. I had a few offers from D2, D3 schools, and like Dan said, I probably would have played there, gotten some good minutes. But once I got into UW for school, I thought, hey, maybe there's a chance I could walk on here. Actually, very fortunate, just kind of on a whim, I contacted one of their assistant coaches, Coach Jackson, who coached at Western for a number of years, won a championship there. But so I contacted him. He had me come out to a couple open gyms. I played with the guys a couple times, and then I guess it went pretty well because Coach Romar told me that he would like to have me be a part of the team. So I was just very lucky that it just kind of all happened that way.
And I should turn it over to the coaches here because these are two unique individuals. And I think this is something we haven't really touched upon very much, but I think part of what makes us so proud up here in Snohomish County and covering sports is that not only are they great basketball players, Steve and Nalin, they're great people too. And I think a lot of guys would not have recognized the fact that, hey, I have a chance to get a really strong education here, even though I may never see the floor, but there are other priorities in life and there are more things important than just playing basketball per se. Talk about these guys a little bit. Steve, Dan Kingma, I mean, what kind of a person is he off the court? What kind of a person was he in terms of his leadership and in the locker room?
Well, he's very smart because I remember one thing we talked about with Coach Romar, that there was a point in time that Dan was thinking about going into coaching. And Coach Romar said, hey, and if he came here, in addition to all the other ways he can contribute to the program, we could really train him to be a coach. And I think Dan has gotten a lot smarter in 4 years at UW, and he doesn't want to be in the coaching profession, like fools like Coach Sood and myself. So he's been well educated in his 4 years at the University of Washington. So he's very smart. But seriously, I think I told the story to Coach Sood before, but there was a bunch of kids lining up to get both these guys autographs after their senior day
right?
game. Yeah, and it was pretty cool how the dad was like, you want to get autographs from these guys. They're from Snohomish County. They're Wesco guys, and they're like everything you'd want to see in a student and an athlete. And so it's kind of cool to hear a parent say that and feel that way about these guys.
And Nalin, tell us a little bit about Greg Bowman, the person, and the character of.
When Greg was vetting the colleges to choose for after his senior year where to go. I remember he had a couple of D2s, and D2s are outstanding programs, as good as any programs in the country. And he was going through the process, and then he said he's thinking about going to the UW and maybe try to walk on. And I thought to myself, well, if he went to one of these D2 programs, and similar to what Dan could do also, he could go be a household name forever in the lore of one of those programs that he'd choose to go to. When I was at senior day, it dawned on me at the UW, they're household names for the University of Washington basketball program. They got to play basketball every day. They got their education. and they will always be remembered as UW basketball players. And so they did that at the ultimate level, and I give them a lot of respect. But it doesn't surprise me what Coach Johnson just said about those young men. You could turn on an NBA game tonight, and you see guys acting the wrong way and feeling like they have to be someone they're not. These two young men have stayed true to who they are from day one. And I just, for Steve and I think we'll say this, we got to coach at least one Dan Kingman or one Greg Bowman. There's a lot of coaches that never get to do that. So we're the lucky ones on this whole deal.
And if I'm correct, Tom,
you are.
We've got another coach who knows these guys fairly well. Dave Rice joining us on the phone right now, assistant basketball coach at the University of Washington. Coach, how are you tonight?
Doing great, and even better that I get to talk about two great young guys, Greg Bowman and Dan Kingma. It's exciting to be on the air with you.
Before we talk about these two individuals, talk about the 9, 10, 11, 12 guys on the bench. What do you expect from those guys on any team?
Well, first of all, those guys are all really good players because they have to be ready to play at any moment. Their playing time may not be quite as much as some of the guys who get in on a regular basis, but they bring it every day in practice. They represent the university in a positive fashion. And they're just great leaders, and those are the guys who are going to be successful in life. Because first of all, again, they're very good players. They've worked hard on their games. They bring it every day in practice, and so that's what we're looking for in those guys.
Coach, you and your staff, first year there at the program this year, and obviously every staff has their own system that they want to run and their own type of player that they're looking for. Would have been pretty easy, I would imagine, for a couple of walk-on players to go, yeah, we had a nice run here, but let the new coach bring his own guys in here. Maybe we'll take off. When you guys got there, I know obviously you're going to go and you're going to assess the Matisse Thybulls and the David Crisps of the world, but when you start watching video on Dan and Greg and you're trying to make decisions as to what the upcoming season is going to look like, how easy was it for you, and what was the initial conversations like with these guys?
Well, first of all, it was great for us to be able to have the opportunity to be at Washington. Certainly, Coach Romar left a great foundation, had great success at Washington, and we took over a program, and he left a lot of really good players. And two of the guys we were excited about, in addition to the guys you mentioned, were Greg Bowman and Dan Kingma. I had the advantage of knowing who they both were. I was at Nevada last year before I came and joined Coach Hopkins' staff, and both Greg and Dan were in our scouting report, so I knew all about them. Knew Greg was a very tough inside-outside player who had the ability to score on the block and played hard, and Dan was a guy who had played significant number of minutes at various points in time in his career and was a threat from the outside, was a leader, and so we knew exactly who they were. And I know Coach Hopkins was really excited when they both made a decision to stay and be part of what we were trying to build here.
So talk a little more about them individually in terms of what they bring to the table. I mean, we've already kind of mentioned what a 9th, 10th, 11th man looks like on a bench and what your expectations are, but these two in particular, what have they given this program and how have they kind of helped towards the future? Obviously, the only two seniors on this team, correct?
Right. Well, first, they were both very good high school players, had the opportunity to play at a lot of places, and chose to come and play for Coach Romar at Washington. And for those of us who had an opportunity to coach him as seniors, we're glad that they did. And, and certainly in terms of Greg Bowman's career, he's a very good inside-outside player, has the ability to catch the ball on the block and score, runs the floor well, can face up and make plays, and showed a lot of that in practice. And when he got an opportunity in games, he played extremely well in all those facets of the game. And it was exciting for us on senior day that he got to start, and he's on a pick-and-roll situation, caught the ball and scored our opening basket against Oregon. And so a very capable player. And then obviously, Dan Kingma is a very capable combo guard, can play the point, can play the off guard. Very, very good shooter, but always is making plays both for his teammates and for himself, and understood what we were trying to do in our zone. And again, he was a guy that every time we called on him, he did a great job.
Well, let's turn the tables. Dan Kingma, talk about when the new staff came in. You've graduated. You're a senior. You don't have to worry about getting playing time. Talk about the new coaches when they came in.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, when Coach Romar and his staff, when they left, it was tough on me because that was the staff that, especially Coach Romar, that brought me in. And I grew to love that staff, and they always treated me with respect. And when they left and we got a new influx of coaches, it just I kind of wondered in my head whether they would respect. I was thinking for both me and Jibo is I think a lot of coaches around the country don't really treat the guys at the end of the bench like us with much respect. They probably kind of overlook us, maybe don't think we might have much game or can provide much value to the program. So it kind of just wondered how that would be. But once the coaches came and they were on campus, it was just really exciting to me, and just it was awesome to just feel the support that they gave us. Coach Hop and Coach Rice especially right away told me and Jibo like how much value we can bring to the team, even if maybe we won't be playing. They respected everything that we did and everything that we stood for, and that they really thought we had a role with this team, even if maybe it didn't mean playing a whole lot. So that went a long way for both, I think, me and Greg, and our decision to keep playing with the team. And yeah, so that was awesome for us.
Greg, what about you?
Yeah, like Dan said, I mean, it was obviously tough to see Coach Romar and the rest of the staff go, because we're with them for 3 years. They're like your family. You know, you grow to love them. But once Coach Hop and the new staff came in, they're our new family. Like it was a good transition for us. Like Dan said, Coach Hop right away told us how important we were to the program and how much he wanted us to stay with them and be with them throughout the season, because he let us know every day how important we were and how big of a part of the team we were. So there was that level of uncertainty in the spring when the new coaches were coming, but that uncertainty went away pretty quickly for me.
Coach, is there part of you that can identify with those guys?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I have an opportunity to play at UNLV and to be a role player on a national championship team and play on 2 Final Four teams. And I think the thing that was great for me at that time was the coaching staff made everyone on the team, from player 1 through 9, 10, 11, 12, understand the importance of playing your role. And without what you did, it wouldn't be the success that we had. And the thing I would say more than anything about Jibo and about Dan is they're, first and foremost, they're really good players, but then just as important, they're high character guys. And we're going to have great success at UW. We're going to build a great tradition just like Coach Romar and previous coaches did. And Dan and Jibo have a big hand in that. And we tell them that all the time, is that they helped us build a great foundation, and any success we have in the future has a lot to do with what they brought and the character that they showed and how well they played.
Well, thanks very much, Coach Dave Rice of the University of Washington. Thanks for being with us.
No, it's great, and I was excited when I heard I had the opportunity to talk about 2 very special players who are a big part of and really exhibit all we want to be about UW. So thanks for having me on.
There you go.
Thanks, Coach.
We should mention these guys have been blushing the whole time, too. That
Big smiles on their face ever since Coach Rice.
So let's,
Coach Rice.
Thanks, Coach Rice. Yeah, there you go. Let's take a break, and when we come back, well, I'll say bad things about him. How about that? As we continue here on Fox Sports 1380 FM 95.3.
Major things are happening at Major League Pizza in Everett. Major League Pizza is expanding its dining area so you can bring the whole team to enjoy Everett's favorite pizza, premium grinders, and delicious salads. Their all-star lineup of gourmet pizzas include the Grand Salami, Major League Clubhouse, the Shoeless Joe, and with the new expansion in 2018 comes the New Deal. Right now, get any large 3-topping pizza with an order of breadsticks for only $20.18 at Major League Pizza on Colby Avenue in Everett. Online at MajorLeaguePizza.com.
Chinook Lumber, reframing the building landscape, and a Northwest legend for more than 20 years, is also a proud sponsor of Wesco High School football and basketball. Chinook Lumber supports these fine student athletes and applauds them for the time and effort they put forth and wish them nothing but the best. Chinook salutes the young girls and boys striving hard to reach their personal and team goals. Chinook Lumber in Snohomish, North Bend, and Arlington, and the go-to place for decking, fencing, windows, doors, and more. Find them online at ChinookLumber.com.
Good people and the good hands go together, like Allstate and Brian Reed of the Brian Reed Agency. Brian has lived and worked in Snohomish County for over 20 years. He takes the time to get to know folks, what's important to them, and how best to protect it all without wasting a dime of their hard-earned money. That's why he works with Allstate. They help him protect the people he cares about with affordable policies designed around individual needs. Call Brian Reed at the Brian Reed Agency today, 425-337-4646.
Justice is easy if you know what to do. Call 800-LAW-0842.
Russell and Hill are proud sponsors of the Fox Sports 1380 and FM 95.3 High School Boys and Girls Athletes of the Year. Professional, personal, proven attorneys. Russell and Hill.
Russell and Hill will fight for you. Call 800-LAW-0842.
One for the road? What'd that last drink cost you? Thousands of dollars in legal and court costs, your license, and possibly your job when you're arrested for driving drunk. The Snohomish County DUI and Target Zero Task Force reminds you that law enforcement is out protecting everyone from drunk drivers. So drink responsibly and don't take a chance, because chances are you're going to get caught. Designate a sober driver, get a car service, call a cab, or even take a bus. You drink and drive, you're going to lose. This message brought to you by the Snohomish County DUI and Target Zero Task Force.
When an honest handshake seals the deal, you're dealing with Vander Yacht Propane. From their roots in Linden, Washington, Vander Yacht Propane has grown to provide quality services from Canada to I-90, commercial, industrial, and residential. From filling up your existing tanks to tank rentals, above ground and below ground installation, and 24/7 emergency delivery, Whatcom, Skagit, Snohomish, and Island counties are fueled by Vander Yacht Propane. Trusted, family owned and operated. Learn more at vanderyachtpropane.com.
Prep Sports Weekly here on Fox Sports 1380, FM 95.3 continues. We've got Silvertips hockey coming your way at the bottom of the hour, live from Kennewick. Tom Lafferty along with Steve Willits, welcoming back Dan Kingma, Greg Bowman from the University of Washington, former players now. Steve Johnson and Nalin Sood, their head coaches in high school. We need a Kingma family update.
You need a Kingma family update.
What everybody's doing.
There's 12 kids, right? Isn't that right? I felt like there were 12 kids playing there.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. So we'll start with the youngest. Brooke is she's a junior at the University of Lipscomb in Nashville. She's running cross country and track and field. So she's doing well over there. She likes it down in Nashville, and she's doing really well with running. She's the runner of the family, so...
Mom was a runner too, right?
Yeah, Mom was a runner.
I was going to say Mom was the runner of the family.
Yeah, so
Olympic time trialist.
Runner of the kids. So my mom loves Brooke the most for that, for sure. And then Kelly, my twin sister, is graduating with me in June, and she had a tough time this year because she had to medically retire a year early because she had lots of problems with her wrist. She missed a lot of her junior year too, so kind of tough. But she was once she got through the whole injury process, she did a really good job of kind of staying involved with the program, and she's going to do great. She's about to start working here soon, and she's awesome. But so that's Kelly, and then Brett is kind of funny. He's 3 years older than me, but he is a senior as well, so he's graduating. He just graduated, actually. So
Western?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Me, Kelly, and Brett are all in the same graduating class. And Brett's he's doing awesome. He's looking for some work right now too, doing a couple other things to stay busy. But I think he's up in the Bellingham area. And then Christy, very recently, just got back today from Uganda on a 2.5 week mission trip. So she's staying really busy as always. She's doing a couple things for work and volunteering in a bunch of different places, and just being a person she's always been. She's just getting a lot done. And myself, I am graduating in June, and
with a degree in
finance, and just trying to enjoy my last couple months as a college student, and trying to live up the experience of maybe just being a student and not being a student athlete for once. So
Were you and Kelly ever a package deal in terms of, did you talk about where you wanted to go to school? Did you want to go to school together?
Well, we're always that was always like, it would have been a good thing, but it wasn't like necessarily had to happen. It wasn't like we had to go to the same school. Kelly actually committed to UW, I believe, her freshman year at high school. So she knew all along whether I was going to go wherever, she was going to go to UW. So I guess I kind of just followed her there, and that definitely was a deciding factor in me going there because I'm so close with Kelly. But it wasn't like we had to go to the same school.
Tell us a little more about March 3rd, both of you guys. Senior day.
Oh.
Oregon Ducks in the house. The only two seniors on the team. There's video tributes to you guys before the game. Standing room only crowd. Everybody's going nuts beforehand. They're welcoming in you guys during the starting lineups. And then, Greg, you go out and you score the first basket of the entire game, and the crowd just erupted. one of the more special moments of your life, I've got to think. Tell me about that day and just what it means to you.
Yeah, well, a very special day, obviously. The night before, Dan and I were kind of talking to each other, and we're a little nervous, but we're like, all right, let's do this. We've put in all the work, all the time, like we deserve this. Let's just go out and let's just have fun, however long it may be. Let's just play basketball like we know how to do. The pregame ceremonies were awesome. A little surreal that I was starting for UW, my dream school, on senior night. But then once the ball tipped off, like it just seemed like a normal game, honestly, which is kind of hard to believe. But it just, once it starts going, you get into the flow, and it felt very natural. And like you said, I was very fortunate to get put into a situation where I got to shoot, and somehow it rolled in. I don't know how it went in.
Somehow it rolled in.
Yeah, I was just super excited to help my team out, get us started. But it was just a very special day, a very special moment. I'm glad that I was able to share it with this guy next to me, because we've been through a lot the last 4 years, and
Dan,
I don't want to share with anyone else but him.
What did that day mean to you?
Say that again.
What did senior day mean to you?
The day, it was kind of surreal, honestly. It was hard to enjoy to the fullest, like in the moment, because of knowing that we were gonna start. And I'm not horrible with nerves, but basketball is something that means a lot to me. It was hard to really enjoy it in the moment because I was so focused and wanting to do our job. Whether that was, we didn't know if we were gonna play 15 seconds or 3 minutes. I think we played like a minute and a half or two or something, but once the day ended and we were able to look back and just kind of like think about what that day meant and how much it meant to us that our coaches wanted to honor us. Or we played a few more games, but that was like a great just like final hoorah to basketball, just kind of like a surreal moment where go out there on the court, look around, it's a packed house and at UW, and I look across the half court line and Jibo's standing there we're about to start, and all the Oregon players, and it was just kind of crazy, and it was just a great way to end it.
Well, and that's kind of the glorious part of the game, but really for you guys, and I know, Greg, you were a 4-year walk-on. Talk us through that a little bit, because, and I guess the question that I have right away is, what is and what is not paid for you guys as players? Do you get to go to the dining room table at the end of practice? Do you get per diem on the road to pay for meals? What do you and don't you get as a walk-on basketball player?
As a walk-on, you have to cover your own tuition, but everything else you get included with the team. So you get the meals, you get the per diem, you get the gear, you get all that. So it's just the tuition that you have to cover yourself.
So 3 meals a day, or if you get there early in the morning, can you go eat in the...
Yeah, if you want to get up there early enough, yeah.
Okay.
You get breakfast. And you get pretty much everything else the other guys get.
But having said that, you're not paying for your own housing. So what have the last 4 years looked like for you? Have you been working other jobs when you're not playing basketball? Where do you find the time if you do?
Well, after my freshman year, I got a job working at the Little Caesars in Mount Lake Terrace for a couple months, just trying to make some money. That was an interesting experience. Yeah, so I worked a little that summer, but after that, it just got kind of busy with school and basketball, so I just kind of focused on those two. But I was living at home for my 4 years, taking the bus, commuting every day, so that was tough at first because it's kind of, it's a grind, getting up early, getting on the bus, going to school, going to basketball, then coming home. But I got used to it, got into a good rhythm, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, what time do practices start? Are you guys, Coach Hopkins, for instance, morning practices, afternoon? What's the regiment look like?
With Coach Hop, we had practice around like 3 every day. So it was a nice steady schedule. It wasn't too bad.
And then the glorious part of it, you guys are always the one everybody's cheering for, right? You're kind of the victory cigar, if you will. That's the fun part of watching basketball. Anytime I watch a game, and if the team's up by 20 or even in some cases down by 20, 1 or 2 minutes left to go, the dog pound is rooting you guys on, right? Dan, what is that experience like, and do you guys get recognized around campus because of that?
Yeah, that's a cool experience. It's kind of weird, honestly, because like. You get in at the end of the games, and we got kind of used to it after a while. But for me and Jibo, like we both have had a lot of experience with basketball, and we both have played at a pretty high level. So it's just kind of funny. Like at the end of the game, I don't know about. I've heard it for Jibo. Like right when I get across half court, if I don't shoot it, and I will hear it from the dog pack. So I'm like holding the ball with like a guy on me, and I'm 36 feet away from the hoop, and I hear shoot it, and it's like, it's cool. It's just kind of it's an interesting experience because it's just kind of like, you're just trying to play basketball because you're out here. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I'm like, I can play too. Like, I'm not just like the mascot running out there like like playing basketball. But it's also, I also do appreciate the love, and I know Jibo does too. And around campus, people definitely know who we are just based off basketball, not in like a conceited way, but like people come to the games and they know who we are. And
But walking through Red Square, are you guys kind of rock stars? I mean, Greg, even if you're not wearing your basketball attire, do people come up to you?
It's tough to get through Red Square. I'm just getting hounded. No, nothing like that. No one's really pestering me for autographs or anything.
It's kind of like back in the Jackson and Malik Terrace days, right?
Yeah.
Coach, how much have you enjoyed watching Dan? I mean, do you find yourself turning on games at night, kind of seeing if he's sitting at the end of the bench?
First of all, 36 feet was within range in high school too. So, but
he always had the green light,
right? No, it's been great to see him progress, and I want to add, I thought they did a great job with the senior night thing. You could tell they gave them their just desserts, so to speak, and treated them and their families really well, which I thought was very appropriate and really well done. But yeah, it's been great to see him get that opportunity. It goes by so fast. It's hard to believe. It just seems like he was just kind of thinking about going there, and now all of a sudden he's done playing 4 years. So, but it's been fun to see him get that opportunity. As myself as a Husky and as a Husky fan, it's been kind of extra special also.
Well, you guys have to buy your own tickets now, right? Nalin, going forward.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I haven't thought about it. I haven't planned that far ahead.
Well, Nalin, is there a thought of, well, that's my little boy out there playing, and there's 10,000 people in Heck Ed?
Well, I think you have to look at Greg and look at me. People realize not my little boy. But but you know what? I remember sitting there at that senior night and watching that. And I'm not sure if any kid has ever owed anything from the game. But I thought to myself when I saw those two guys and how the UW put on that event, such a first-class event, I thought these two guys deserve this. And the outpouring of support, and anybody that ever saw that video and saw what the teammates said and how they feel about Greg and Dan, that's the ultimate compliment right there when your teammates say those type of things. Those guys are phenomenal basketball players. They're recruited all over the country, and the respect they had for these two guys. But whatever job they go get in the future in their life, their colleagues and their fellow employees will feel the same way. It doesn't surprise me at all. But I was as proud of him that night as I am of my son if he was ever in the same situation. So yeah.
Walk-ons don't always get that love.
Quick, Dan, best place.
My favorite moment as a player would probably not be a Dan Kingma moment. It was probably when Jibo scored on senior night.
I was going to ask you that
Honestly,
question next. But
no, that was.
Didn't you hit 3 3-pointers ago? You guys have been to China. You've been to the Bahamas. Madison Square Garden. Greg, what about you?
I would honestly say probably this year when we beat Arizona on that last second buzzer beater. Just packed house. It was electric the whole game. Great game. I don't know. It was just awesome to be a part of.
Dan, for you, same thing?
That's up there. Also beating Kansas.
And I guess final question: what's the future hold for both of you guys? Greg, Bowman, where are we going to find you?
Start looking for some jobs, some different opportunities, and I'm excited for what's next.
Yep, same here. Just trying to see what my next step is. I haven't figured anything out yet for sure, but I think I'll be all right. Yeah.
Well, thanks very much, guys. Dan Kingma and Greg Bowman from the Huskies, Steve Johnson, Nalin Sood, Jackson and Montlake Terrace. For Steve Willits, I'm Tom Lafferty. Thanks for being with us. Silvertips coming up right here on Fox Sports 1380 FM 95.3.